the United States military has just revealed that they've been hiding this one commercial pilot UFO sighting for over a decade. And after what happened to him, we can see why. On March 24, 2007, a Hawaiian Airlines pilot was flying over the North Pacific Ocean when he noticed an anomalous aerial vehicle that had somehow managed to go undetected on both civilian and military radar. To make matters even stranger, when the pilot tried to contact air traffic control or the military, nobody responded to his calls. It was like the object and the airspace around it were being deliberately hidden. Now, this isn't your typical UFO sighting. The pilot, Captain David J. Lewis, was a 35-year veteran with impeccable credentials. He had over 12,000 hours of flight time under his belt and was considered one of the best in the business. So when he called in the object, the military took notice. According to his report, he was at an altitude of 37,000 feet in a Boeing 767, cruising at 480 knots. Suddenly, right outside his window, he saw something that stopped him in his tracks. It was a massive disc-shaped object hovering silently above the clouds. There was no sound, not even the hum of a jet engine. It just hung there motionless, almost like it was waiting for something. He tried to get a fix on its size, but it was difficult because it didn't have any markings or reference points. But he estimated it was about 100 feet in diameter and made of a shiny metallic material that seemed to absorb the sunlight. Then, just as suddenly as it appeared, it vanished into the clouds. But the strange thing was that the object was nowhere to be found on any of the radar systems. Lewis tried to report it, but he couldn't raise anyone on the radio. Felt like he was in some kind of Twilight Zone episode. And then things got even weirder. Minutes after he'd seen the object, 2 unidentified fighter jets appeared out of nowhere. They were sleek and black, unlike any aircraft Lewis had ever seen before. He watched as they circled the object, but they didn't seem to engage or communicate with it in any way. They just kept circling. Then as quickly as they'd arrived, they disappeared. And as if that wasn't enough, Lewis soon realized that the object from earlier had reappeared behind his plane. It was getting closer and faster. He could see it gaining on him at an alarming rate. His heart started racing as he realized that whatever this thing was, it was heading straight for him. But before he could do anything, the object passed right through his plane. He felt a jolt and heard a loud bang like a sonic boom. He immediately put out a distress call, but it was too late. The military never responded. The object was gone, and so were his instruments. His plane was now surrounded by complete silence. His radio was dead. His autopilot was gone, and his warning lights were flashing erratically. He knew he had to land immediately, but he couldn't risk taking the plane down with him. So he turned on the emergency locator transmitter and hoped for the best. When the plane finally landed back in Hawaii, Lewis was met by a group of men who identified themselves as being from the U.S. Navy intelligence. They confiscated his flight recorder and debriefed him for hours on end. He told them everything he'd seen and heard, but the more he described, the more their eyes seemed to narrow. Finally, they let him go, but not before warning him to keep quiet about the incident. For weeks afterward, Lewis couldn't shake the feeling that something big was going on. He tried to get in touch with the military to find out what had happened to his plane, but he was always met with the same stonewall. They claimed that there was no record of his incident, as if it had never happened. He knew that there was more to the story, but he couldn't get anyone to talk to him. Then, in 2019, leaked documents surfaced that contained a classified program labeled Project Mirage. Do not engage. The documents revealed a top-secret military program that had been searching for extraterrestrial life and monitoring unidentified flying objects. What is even more shocking is that one of the images in the documents matched Lewis's description of the object he'd seen in the sky. It was a massive disc-shaped object with a shiny metallic finish, exactly like he had seen it. But there was one crucial difference. In the leaked documents, the object was labeled as an unidentified flying object, meaning that the military had been tracking it for some time. This means that Lewis wasn't the first person to see it. Others had witnessed it too, but no one had been able to identify it. What's even more disturbing is that the documents also contained a list of instructions for how the military should respond to such an object. And the first rule was clear: do not engage. Whatever these objects were, the military had been ordered not to engage with them under any circumstances. This raises a lot of questions. What kind of technology are we talking about here? Why did the military ground Lewis for mental health concerns if his sighting was real? And why do they seem so determined to cover up the truth? These are important questions that deserve answers. Unfortunately, the military still denies that Lewis's incident ever happened. They claim that there is no record of it, which means that we may never know the full story. The documents that surfaced in 2019 were classified and leaked without authorization, which makes their authenticity questionable. Without concrete evidence, it's hard to say what really happened to Lewis. But there are a few possibilities. Perhaps he did see a UFO, and the military is covering it up to protect us from the truth. Or maybe he experienced a rare and unexplained phenomenon that doesn't fit within the bounds of our current understanding. Or perhaps his sighting was nothing more than a case of mistaken identity. But there's one thing that we do know. The military's behavior is suspicious, and their refusal to come clean is only fueling the conspiracy theories. If they really want to put this to rest, they need to release the full story, no matter how shocking it may be. As for Lewis, he's still trying to get his story out there. He believes that there is a larger truth that we need to know, and he's not giving up until he gets answers. So what do you think really happened? Is this just a case of mistaken identity? Or is there something more to the story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.